Hello guys, welcome back. Now in this video we will start from where we left from the last video. There in the last video just we talked about the login test where we are trying to see that how the complete process configured and is like it's opening the website. So we just saw in the last video that everything was fine, the setup was done. Now we are going to write codes for login. So basically the test cases here will be, let's understand what are the different test cases. So if you see here, this is the test cases for login. Usually you will get the test cases in this form and then you will be doing task accordingly. So here it says logging the website with correct credentials. Second, it says login with the wrong email and correct password, login with correct email and wrong password. So these are different scenarios that you will come across. So you need to build these scenarios, and based on these scenarios, you need to test that in these different scenarios, what's the response that you get. That's more important, and that's the job of tester basically, if you see. So here, now I have multiple scenarios to test. So either I'll pass the values manually or I'll read the values from the Excel sheet. So you see, when we are doing Selenium framework, so it's better way to go through the Excel sheet. So what I've done here is I've created a separate Excel sheet where I've just passed a username and password. So now I'm just testing the first two scenarios. Later you can test more of them. So I'm just giving an idea of these two scenarios, how basically we'll write code for these two. So when it comes for this one, so here I've taken a right credentials, like this is the right one, this is the first column is the right one, the first row is the right one, second one is the wrong credentials. So basically these are the details that we'll be using in our testing process. Now because we have more than one data and we want to implement them in our test case, so here we need to understand that which concept of test ng will apply here so this process execute. So I know that you are familiar with the data providers in TestNG. You have seen, I have gone through that data providers. So basically, here we'll use that data provider concept. So first thing what we'll do is you create an Excel file, create two columns, username, password, put the username and password. Then as usual, you have to create a class for Excel file and read the Excel file. Once the Excel file is read, then go to the login test, read the credentials from the Excel sheet and run the login process. So now all of this we'll see in this video. So just go through this very closely and try to understand each and every sections because this will help you in future as well. So from here you'll get ideas of how to use multiple data for one test cases, as well as you will get idea of how the complete process is executing. All of this you'll get to know. Now let's understand this. So let's get back to our code. Now, one more thing, because you are using this, because you are using now the Excel file. So in this case, you need to add Apache. Basically, Apache POI is for adding. We need to add the jar files. Basically, the dependencies related to Apache POI because this is needed to read the Excel file. So I copy the dependencies of POI and then add it to our form.xml file. First take the dependencies with POI extension. Now I'll take dependencies with POI XML. Copy this and paste it here. So we have added two dependencies, one for POI and another one for POI XML. So the first and second one, both you have to take, save it. Now, once this is done, next thing what we need to do is in utilities, we need to create a Excel file. So I'll create a Excel file with read Excel. Sorry, the first letter will be in caps. Read Excel file. So this is the class name for read Excel file. Now we need to write code for this section. So basically, Also, we have created one test data. So in this test data, I will put my Excel file, the one that I showed you that I've created for this data driven. So what I'll do, I'll copy my Excel file and I will paste it here. So the Excel file is also added. Now in this test data, you see I have added in test data folder my Excel file. Now the first thing what I have to do is now I have to write code to read Excel file. So before using this read Excel file, here you need to know that in case of this reading Excel files, or basically in case of running the Excel files, you need to have few classes. You need to know there are few classes that's used to read Excel file. And what are those classes? These are four classes. There's XSF workbook, XSSF sheet, XSSF row, and XSSF cell. These three are the classes that you have to know about. And these classes, basically this is about talking about the complete Excel workbook. Now when I talk about XSF sheet, so this will help you to identify the Excel sheet. That means this login is one of the sheet, search is another sheet, same like that. So this will help us to read based on sheet, and next to is based on rows and columns. So I need these three classes, and I'll be using these three classes to run the, or basically you will need these three classes to read the Excel file, you can say basically. Now, first thing what you have to do is you have to create a method named as public, return type will be string, and it's let's make it as get cell value. Now to get cell value, you need to pass few details, like when you are reading an Excel file, so you understand, just you have to think what type of details you need to pass so that it gives you the exact information that you are looking from the Excel file. So you need to pass informations like you need to pass the file name, you need to pass the column number, rows number. Basically once you will have the column number, you will have the rows number, you will have the file name, you will have the sheet name, then you can easily return the value at a particular row and column. So in case if you want to fetch the details, now you see there will be different scenarios when you are writing an Excel sheet or when you are reading the Excel sheet. There will be different scenarios to read an Excel sheet. One will be based on cell values, other one will be based on string data, basically where you want to just fetch the string values. Next time maybe it's like you want to fetch the string values based on the sheet name. One will be based on the index number. I'll tell you when I'll be creating these methods. Next will be when you want to fetch only the numeric data. Usually when you read from the Excel sheet, it gives you the exact value in the Excel sheet. So here we need to create different scenarios, and based on that scenarios, we'll read the Excel file. So the first one I'm creating to get cell value. That means I'm trying to get value of a specific cell. So to get this value of specific cell, first you will pass the file name. Next thing you will pass the sheet name. And then you need to pass the row and the column number, the column which you are going to use, or basically the column or number value. And these returns the string value. So the return type will be string here. Now, when you read a Excel file, the very first line that you write, first you need to feed the value to the input stream. So now this input stream will be common for all the methods. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a public static file input stream, and we call it as FIS. I give the name. So we need to keep this Excel sheet file input stream. We need to define it globally. Now in this input stream, we need to first read this input stream. So to read, I'll just write new file input stream. And here I'll pass first the file name. Now in this input stream, I'll pass the file name. Now you see, you get these errors. It's saying add throw declarations or add try catch. It's asking for. So here I'm going to add throws declaration. Now I'll add throw declaration because if I add try and catch, this will work only for this input stream. Now next time when I'll be writing for another one, so again I have to add try and catch for that. So what I do, I just keep add throw declaration, and here I keep a common exception. Just I keep the common exception so that if more exception comes across, it can be easily handled. So we don't need to put try and catch for every sections. Or if you want the other way, what you can do is you put try and catch, surround it with try and catch, but in case in catch, the exception that you define is file not found. So just change this exception from file not found to exception. Now this will take care of all the exceptions that will come across, because the next line when you will be writing, there you will come across another exception. So there again you have to write try and catch separately. So it's better keep one try and catch, the exception that you pass the common exception. Now define the next part, that is workbook. So workbook is equals to new, now again creating an object of this, and in this object just you need to pass the input stream. Now in third step, what you are going to do, you are going to read the Excel sheets. So for Excel sheet you will be writing now, just create an object of this Excel sheet that is here, and for Excel sheet just we'll feed value for the Excel sheet. What value? The workbook, using workbook, I'll call the method get sheet dot get sheet, and here I'll pass the sheet name as file name. That's all. Or here in sheet I'll pass the sheet name, sorry, sheet name. Now once this is passed, in next one, once the Excel sheet details are here, then I will go for cell. Now this cell will give me the value in exact cell, in that particular cell. So first, using Excel sheet, I'll call the workbook, sorry, using Excel sheet, I'll call the get row method, and here I'll pass the row value, and then column number. That's all. So now this cell will exactly get the value in a particular cell. So the value that comes in this cell. Now once everything is done, at the end, don't forget to close the workbook. So it's very important to close the workbook at last. And once the workbook is closed, then what you need to do, you need to return the value. So we'll write return cell dot get string cell value. So when I say get string cell value, that means whatever value it returns, it will return it in form of string. So this will be my return statement here. That will come inside this in the return sheet. Now, so and in catch exception also I'll return a empty value. Sorry, why I've added the sheet name. in cache section as well, I'll put an empty return. So if in case you get any try, if you get anything wrong in try, it will move to the cache section and it will return you an empty value. So if, remember, when you are trying to fetch the value and if the value is returned in form of null, then understand that particular section you are not getting the values from the Excel sheet. And if you get the exact value, it means that that value will be passed. But if you don't get, understand it's an returning a null value. Now this was for cell values, but the problem here, I'm passing the rows numbers, columns number. Now when you will come across data driven testing, when you will see in the next phase, when you will be doing data driven testing, there you need to know the number of rows and number of columns, because if you don't know the number of rows and columns, you'll not be able to apply your logic on this Excel sheet. Because when I'll get the values one by one, I'll get this way: first row, second column. This is how I'm going to get the values. So it's very important that you get all the values one by one, or basically you can say you get all the you read all the details from the Excel sheet and then pass it one by one. So in this case, just so for that, you need to basically for that you need to create another method where you will read the columns and rows. Now these columns and rows are important, so you'll be thinking why to use this rows and columns. It's important because you are going to apply these rows and column. Based on that you will apply the sequence and all, so it's needed. These rows and columns are needed. So here I'll create another method with details of rows and column. This will help you to get the count of rows and column. So when you trying to get the count of rows and columns, so in that case, just you need to name the rows and columns. So I say public static int get row count. And in row count, just two details here needed. One is file name, and the next one is sheet name. That's all. These two details you needed: sheet name and rows name. Now the steps here is similar. That's why I'm typing these things, so at least you get an idea how we are writing. So the steps will be similar, just the line that will change here is this one. Last time I was trying to get the value from particular cell. Here I'm trying to get the row value. So I'll write int row is equals to, so I'll use Excel sheet dot get last row plus 1. That will help you to get the rows. Now here where you are returning the cell value, return row here. That's all. Sorry, you return row here. So basically this row, the value, this when you will return row here. So now here if you have a try, so obviously you have to add the cache section also. So add the cache section as well here. That is this section. By mistake I moved an extra curly braces here. It's fine now. So as usual, here you will return int value, so return 0. And the sheet name, you have to pass the sheet name. So this is how you will pass the row. Okay, same way for column, it will be same. All details will be same for column, just change the name to get column count. Now see, I'm copying and pasting the same lines again and again because that's needed. That's how I'm doing. The seed name, this again here in try and block. Did I add the same thing twice? Oh, I did a mistake here. Let's copy this thing here from and paste it below. That is here. And make it as column count. And here Now to get column value, how we'll get the column value from the Excel sheet? So to get the column value from the Excel sheet, I'll say in first row, that's maybe at 0th index or first index, give me the last column. So that will help you to give the column value. Get row index and get last cell value. Sorry, get last cell value. So this will help you to give the column count. Now the codes are very simple. It's nothing complicated here or nothing difficult. Everything is simple. Just you need to understand why we are doing it and why we are using it. So this is all we are doing to read the Excel file. That's all. Now comes the next method. So next three methods that I've already created, I'll just copy and paste just for your understanding these three methods. See, just first time I created get cell value. Now, second time I'll create get string data, what I was talking about. This will return you the string value. So, and this will be based on the seat index. Now, again, the next one I'll create seat data based on seat name. So if someone wants to get now this both will return the same value, but the only difference is here it's based on seat index. Here it's based on seat name. So when you pass the value, you want to fetch the value based on seat index, it will give you that. If you want to fetch the value based on seat name, it will give you that. And third one is only to get the numeric data. That's all. So this is how we read the Excel file. This is how we write for Excel files. And one more thing, what you can do is in this cell value, you can make it as static because we don't need to create object and call it. So I want to call this from anywhere. So I'll make this method as static. That's all. Now all of this is done. So this is how we read the Excel file. You create an Excel file, add the Excel file here, and reading the Excel file is done. I hope I have explained you all the steps here. Now I keep it till here in this video where only I'm talking about the Excel file. In next video, I'll talk about the test case, the one that's here. So we'll write the code for the test case. For this test case, the login test case. Now we have this Excel sheet as well with us. So now we'll read the Excel sheets and we'll try to run it using login data providers. So we'll try that data-driven testing in the next video. So that's all in this video. See you next video. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you.